lovely friends, it's Margaret, and today we are going to be talking about what I will be reading for Vaultathon. Welcome back to my channel. So, if you're new here or you've never heard of Vaultathon before, it is a Disney-themed readathon where each round we focus on a different underrated Disney movie. We are going into round 7, which is focusing on The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it is going from July 12th through July 18th. I am here to talk to you about my own TBR, as well as give a few recommendations in case you're still looking for some books to fill out your TBR. If you want more information on what's going on for round 7 of Vaultathon, I will have the announcement video linked up top, and I will also have all of the information in the description box below the video. Make sure that you check that out if you have any questions about dates, about where you can find us, any of that. So this readathon is meant to be a real low-key. You don't have to do what I am going to be doing, which is have a book for each prompt. You can definitely just read one book that fits all of the prompts, and in fact, the group book is going to fit all of the prompts, but we'll get there in a few minutes. So the first prompt is to read a book with a beautiful cover. My pick is going to be The Stars of Whistling Ridge by Cindy Baldwin. So this is about Ivy Mae Bloom. Her mother is a star, and they go around the country like granting wishes, I believe it is, and Ivy Mae, because she wants a permanent home, ends up stealing her mother's jar of wishes, and that kind of tethers them to the town that Ivy Mae's mom is from. They have to go back to this town, and then the jar of wishes gets stolen, and now Ivy Mae is having to like rush to save her family, get these wishes back, all of that good stuff. So I am really looking forward to this. I actually found it because it was written by an author who said it has really good asthma rep because she is also asthmatic. So I was like, wow, I'm going to check this out. My recommendations for this are going to be Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This book not only has a beautiful cover, but it has some of the most beautiful writing I have ever seen. So this is about Laszlo Strange. He is a librarian, and he's obsessed with this magical city called Weep. He knows it used to have another name, but no one remembers it. It just like disappeared from everyone's recollection. So Laszlo finds out one day that this city is real when a delegation comes from Weep to be like, hey, we have a problem that needs to be solved. We want your best minds to come help us solve it. And Laszlo's like, well, I guess I'm going with this part. This is such a good book. It has a mystery. It has family. It has just gorgeous, gorgeous writing. It has a lot of just really interesting characters and introspection. The next book that I want to recommend is The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This is about Natasha and Daniel. Natasha is a Jamaican immigrant. She doesn't have papers. None of her family do because they came up and didn't get them. Her father did something that garnered the attention of immigration services, and so now Natasha has 24 hours to figure out, how am I going to stay in the United States, because it's basically the only country that she has known. She's got college plans here. She's got all kinds of stuff that she is planning on doing, and this disrupts all of her plans. We also have Daniel, who is Korean American. His parents want him to go to, I believe it is Harvard. It's one of the Ivy League schools. They want him to be a doctor, a lawyer, all of that stuff. Daniel wants to be a poet. He wants to write. So he's trying to grapple with the fact that he wants to please his parents, but he also wants to pursue the life that he is interested in. Their paths cross, and Daniel finds out that Natasha does not believe in love, and so he's like, I'm gonna get you to fall in love with me in 24 hours. He makes a bet with her about that, and it goes from there. I absolutely love the way this story goes back and forth between Natasha and Daniel, and also gives you glimpses into the people that they meet during this 24 hours that Daniel has with Natasha to make her fall in love, all of that good stuff. There is so much wonderful stuff that is packed in this book. I just absolutely adore the way their relationship builds and all of the stuff that happens, and I think the ending is just so good. I loved the ending of this book. So the second prompt is a Quasimodo, and that is to read a book with a character or by an author who is disabled or has a chronic illness. I will be reading Who Fears Death by Nnedi Okorafor. So this is about Anya. She is a woman who has magical powers, and she is trying to avoid someone who is trying to kill her, from what I understand. There is a lot here. Her mom is the last survivor of a village that was annihilated. She's the daughter of one of the soldiers that destroyed and raped the people in the village. There's a lot going on here, but I have read Nnedi Okorafor's stuff before. I really enjoyed Binti. There were a lot of things in it that I liked, and so I'm really excited to see what a full-length novel from Okorafor is going to be like. So for both of these books that I am about to recommend, they are own voices books. The author does share characteristics with the disabled characters in this book. So the first one I'm going to recommend because I absolutely adore it, and I really want to reread it, and I wish I had time to reread it, but I don't right now, is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This follows 6 people who are trying to pull off a heist in like this really fortified city. Like, it's supposed to be almost impossible to get into this place, and get back out of it is even harder, and they're trying to go in, get a whole person, and take them out. So I just absolutely adore Leigh Bardugo's character work. I think I would die for like literally all of the characters in this novel. I love them so much. It is such a great found family novel. Just like read it. The other book I want to recommend, Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is about Chloe Brown. She is chronically ill and she's been living with her parents because it's comfortable, because it works for her. She doesn't really, like, she works from home basically, so it doesn't really matter where she lives. And then she has a near-death experience and she decides that she's going to make a bucket list and she's going to complete all of those items on a bucket list, the first of which is move out, which puts her in the path of Red, the handyman at the apartment where she is going to be living. And she decides that Red is going to be the perfect person to help her complete the rest of her list, since some of them have things that are a little bit outside of her comfort zone, and he seems like the kind of person that would be able to help her accomplish those things. I absolutely adore this. Talia Hibbert she can write. All of her books are just so happy and exciting, and this happens to actually be my favorite book in the entire trilogy. The next prompt is The Court of Miracles, and that is to read a book about something hidden. I will be reading The Labyrinth's Archivist by Day Al-Mohammed. So I don't know all that much about this book. I know that the main character's family is kind of in charge of this labyrinth, and they're in charge of archiving all of the things that are brought into this labyrinth. She, however, doesn't think she'll be able to follow into her family's footsteps because she is blind, and so she can't like actually read the things that are being brought to them. And then something happens and things are in danger. All I know is it was nice and short and it sounded really, really interesting. For my recommendations for this, I am going to do one that is a hidden object and one that is a hidden power or hidden person. The first one is The Reader by Tracy Chee. So this is about Sephia. Her parents were killed when she was young. She's been traveling with this kind of like, they kind of are a thief team, and she has this book. No one in her world knows what a book is, but she has this book, and it turns out she's able to read this book, which is another thing that is not able to be done by most of the people in her world. So the fact that she has the book and the fact that she can read the book ends up getting her into a little bit of trouble. Like, if you like story within story narratives, this one is going to just make you so happy. I absolutely adored how the main story with the story in the book were interplaying and how they kind of come together, and it just, like, how they influenced each other was just so much fun to realize and figure out. The next book I want to recommend is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This follows 4 different points of view. It follows Shiala, who is kind of sort of ostracized, but also kind of sort of considered very exotic and wanted, and has to worry about people like killing her for her bones, which is not disturbing at all. It's got Serapio, who has been tasked with being in a certain city, which I can't remember the name of, but he has to be in the city by the time that there is an eclipse. There is Narampa, who is a priestess in this city, getting ready for this big eclipse that's about to happen. And then there is Okoa, who is a crow rider. He is the brother of one of the leaders of this city called Tova. It's called Tova. I highly enjoyed this book. I will say the ending's gonna smack ya, and you're gonna not know what to do with your life because it ends. But it is such a good book. I loved the world building that Rebecca Roanhorse did. I loved all of the characters and the way they came together, and just, there was just so much in here and so much to dissect that I want to reread it. And then the final prompt is, Are You Always This Charming? And that is to read an unlikely love story. This is where our group book comes, The Sound of Stars by Alechia Dow. I apologize, I thought it was Alechia. It is Alicia, so just know that going forward. This is about Ellie and Morris, and they do have a very unlikely love story. So Ellie lives in a world where the aliens have taken over, and she's running this underground library, and Morris finds out about it. He wants music for this project that he is working on, and he knows the humans probably have some, and so he ends up using this library to bribe Ellie into getting him more music, and that ends up leading to a few things. I just absolutely adore this. This is a really, like, easy, light science fiction. There's a little bit of world building, but not a lot, because we are on the United States. We are in the United States of America, and so, like, we haven't even left Earth yet. If you read this book, it fulfills all of the prompts, technically, because it fulfills all 4 of the book-related prompts, and then it fulfills prompt number 5, Festival of Fools, which is to buddy read a book with someone. So everything is fulfilled by reading this one book. That's how I like to structure this particular readathon, just because I want it to be easy. Since we're talking about unlikely love stories, you know I'm gonna have to recommend a couple of romances. The first one, The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This is about Stella and Michael. Stella is an accountant. She works with spreadsheets and numbers, I know that much. She wants to be in a relationship. She wants to, like, her parents are pressuring her to get married and settle down and all of that stuff, and she does want to do that, but she's never really had a successful relationship, and she feels like she just needs more practice at being in a relationship. So she ends up hiring Michael, who is an escort, to walk her through the ropes of being in a relationship, being intimate with someone, and help her kind of acclimate to that so that she's comfortable with it, because that's how she works. I really loved this story. One of my favorite things about it is Stella does have autism, and both of Helen Huang's books at this point, the main character has not had to tell the other character about their autism in order for the other character to just roll with the punches. They don't even question the fact that these people do things differently, and I think that we need a lot more of that in the world, so it was really refreshing to have them express how they needed things to be and not have it questioned. I really appreciated that in this one and in the next one. So I absolutely adore this. I also love the relationship between Stella and Michael, kind of the way that they build together and the insecurities that they both kind of face together. I love Michael's family. It is so much fun to read about them. So I just highly recommend, like, the whole series at this point, okay? And the final book that I have for you, Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. So this is about Myung and Jihoon, and Myung is a gumiho, which means she is a fox spirit, and she has to feed on the souls of people to survive. And she doesn't really like it, but she does it because she doesn't want to die. Jihoon is just an ordinary teenage boy, and then their paths end up crossing one night, and somehow something happens that causes Myung to lose her fox speed, and that means that she is connected to Jihoon in some ways, and so it's about them trying to figure out how do they fix this giant problem, because Myung not having her fox speed, which is basically her soul, kind of a problem. Kind of not working for her. It's about that. It's about their relationship. It's about her trying to fit in this normal high school when she's never really made it a whole year at any one school, because she's just doesn't make friends with people. She stays away from them because of what she is and the fact that she knows she can't stay anywhere for long. So I absolutely adored this. I loved the way that Kat Cho took mythology and lore and brought it into the modern world. It fit. You could literally see these people living in the normal human world, going about their day-to-day business and us having no idea. Those are the books that I will be reading and recommending for round 7 of Vaultathon. I hope you are able to join us, and I hope you're able to find some really good books to read. If you are feeling chatty, let me know if any of these have piqued your interest. Are you adding them to your TBR? Are you thinking about maybe adding them to later TBRs? Have you read any of these books? Talk to me about these books. If you are not feeling chatty, just leave me a music note emoji for a Sound of Stars, since that's our group book. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this channel, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you want to help support my channel, go ahead and watch the next video that I have over here, or you can hit the subscribe button if you are new so that you will not miss a video. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye! This is a post-apocalyptic dystopian set in